Hello everyone, welcome to the 19th episode of Mental Hygiene Show. I am Vrishti Shah, the host for today and campaign ambassador at Mental Hygiene Monday. This is the campaign initiated by Mental Hygiene Monday and being powered by Art Secure. Today we are going to talk about spirituality and self-compassion. And for that we have a speaker with us today, Ms Shriya Shrivastava. She is... Sorry?
Shriya Shrivastava. That's my name.
Yeah, Shriya Shrivastava. She is the member of Delhi State Mental Hygiene Council of Women's Economic Forum. She is the founder of Ruhi, a mental health platform. She is a mental health therapist, life coach, as well as Reiki practitioner. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. We are really grateful to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to start by knowing your views on today's topic, spirituality and self-compassion.
Right. Spirituality to me is very essential for my living and my life because it gives me a lot of hope. It gives me a lot of kindness, and I think it's a big anchor in my life that it is more like a parent which is taking care of me in its own way. Self-compassion, as we all know, that it has various forms to it. It has kindness, it has judgment, it has gratitude. So that's all what I achieve out of spirituality.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. So what does spirituality mean to you?
Spirituality to me means being mindful at what you are doing, to practice whatever you're doing with your whole heart, or otherwise just not doing it at all, right? So as we call it, it's called sadhana, if you all know, in its purest form. And so for example, if we are cooking, you should probably be cooking with an entire heart and soul in the food, and not think about how will the food come out to be. That's when you're being completely into a task and doing it. That's what spirituality means to me. It also gives me an amount of discipline, which leads me to some amount of self-regulation that takes place, some amount of discipline that is responsible or probably ideal to go forward with the productivity that we need to have with the day. So spirituality is a part of life. It's a part of lifestyle.
Right. So I understand that spirituality for you is to be mindful and to self-regulate. Yeah. So also I would like to ask you, what are certain myths that you have heard about spirituality?
Right. I have a couple of them that I have noted down because I really needed to make this as a platform to bust certain myths of spirituality, and so that people get to know a lot about it as to what it is at its core. The first myth is, to be spiritual, you have to be vegan, vegetarian, and leave any amount of intoxication, which is ideally not true. You can do all of that you want, eat all of that you want, and still be spiritual, right? Because as I said, spirituality is about recognition, it's about belief, it's about the sense where we understand that there is a power that is over and above us, and we are a part of that power. Right? We call it like there is a Paramatma and we are all Atmas in that Paramatma. So we are an atom in a whole bowl of energy. That's right. So that is one of the myths that I would like to tell people, that there is absolutely no amount of restriction, regulation. There is no journal that is written that this is how you get spiritual if you don't eat onions or garlic or probably no meat. Like it's all okay. You can still do all of that and still be spiritual. The other one is a routine to be followed, like have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, do your yoga, do your prayers, take a bath, and then move forward to work. I mean, I do understand that there is some amount of discipline that spirituality gives you, but it doesn't really tell you that this is exactly how you should do it. Like, it's not containing you in a box. It's not telling you this is what you do and not something beyond it. Spirituality, the main essence of spirituality is to understand that it is yours. it's your USP, it's yours, it's how you take it. So it could be, there could be a day where you might not want to wake up in the morning, might not want to continue with your spiritual practices. It's absolutely okay. It's still there for you, it's absolutely fine. So that's where I come to the next myth, which is spirituality is not equal to being religious. Yeah, because spirituality is, say, like an ocean, and religion is like a fish bowl. So it's just contain the fish can just move around in that bowl, wherein it has, rituals to follow, rules to follow, probably certain kind of days to follow, certain festivals to celebrate. Spirituality is all across. Spirituality is open. You're free to gather or take from any religion that you want, any practice that you want, and make it your own in whichever way you want to be. Right? So it's more of the sense of belief and the sense of understanding that there is the universe, there is the cosmic energy, there is the Paramatma, and you're just a part of it. That gets me to the another myth is being spiritual is not at all equal to being in a happy space and being at peace. I mean, let's just understand that all of us are humans. It's okay to be upset sometimes. It's okay to be sad sometimes. It's okay to cry sometimes. And you can still be spiritual even after being at all of these phases of life, right? Because that's, I think, is what makes us more human than just, constantly having one emotion at all points of time. The spirituality will definitely lead you to peace, some amount of acceptance, peace, yes, some amount of happiness, yes, because you try to, it spirituality leads you to a phase where you get less angry, you get less irritated out of things, right? Understand better. So it will make you more happy, make you more at peace, but it's ideally not that. Like, I have personally known people who are spiritual and they still feel angry, they still feel sad, and that's fine. That again gets me to the myth number 5, which is only after you do this, you will get spiritual. So only after you cross a finish line, only after you attain enlightenment, you are spiritual. Just a surprise, there is no finish line at all. There is no start point, there is no finish line. Okay, if tomorrow you want to wake up and say, I want to do something which is a part of spirituality, which I think we will discuss in our further questions, I think that's when you start being spiritual, right? There is no finish line that you have to attempt. There is no amount of journal, as I said, or no amount of diploma or ranking that you need to attend to be spiritual. It's all from your heart, it's all your belief, it's all your accomplishment that will lead you there.
Right.
Lastly, which is very important, being spiritual is equal to getting into the hermit mode, which is not true. I mean, you really do not have to surrender anything and everything to be spiritual. You can still enjoy all pleasures, all walks of life. You can still be married. You can still have relationships. You can still have children. You can still be in the same house and still be spiritual. So the whole idea of, you cannot be spiritual when you are attached to somebody, that I think is a bit too much glorified and used in a wrong connotation for people to understand. So before they get into spirituality, they're just like, oh no, we don't want to be here because then I won't have anybody around me, right? And in times like these, when we are running the pandemic, being lonely, being with yourself is as daunting as it can be, like as it can just think like, right? And very ironically, spirituality is what is helping most of the people these days. Spirituality gives you hope. So people are turning towards spirituality and then they are suddenly realizing, oh, it doesn't require any surrender. It doesn't require any hermit mode turned on. It doesn't require any, yeah, that's what I would like to say.
Right, and I would like to mention it's so important to break this myths, because we might just go into the wrong. I mean, we might have the wrong idea, and because of which some people might not choose to, or some people might. So thank you so much for breaking those myths. Also, how can spirituality be helpful in learning to be self-compassionate, and how impactful can it be?
Okay, to make you this understand and our audiences understand, I would like to tell you what self-compassion consists of in the very first place. Self-compassion consists of self-kindness, common humanity, and self-judgment. Now, these three concepts, kindness means how much are you kind to yourself. Common humanity is how much are you extending this kindness, gratitude, uh, helpfulness, or probably the feeling of connectedness with the humanity. And the third one is self judgment, as to how are you judging yourself in a good, bad way, thereby leading you to be productive or critical of yourself. All right, let's just try to understand that self compassion can sometimes lead to being the individual being overly critical about themselves and thereby leading to a downfall where they go low on their self esteem, low on their self judgment, low on their self worth, and thereby leading to other mental health dysfunctions. Right? Having understood this concept of self compassion, spirituality really tells you something in, like I would put in a single line, it's learning to not beat up yourself. It's telling you do not try to be so harsh on yourself. It's okay. Because I think one major thing that spirituality gives us is it takes away the power out of you and tells you you are not the cause of it. It's somebody else who caused it. And I think that agency is enough for an individual to not feel bad about themselves, right? To not feel burdened that, oh my God, I did something, I messed up something, I caused this. That's all out of your ego. That's all out of your ego of, you messed up something, thereby leading to extremely low self-compassion, self-esteem, and all of the leading mental health dysfunctions if they may have in future. So spirituality lets you treat yourself as your best friend. It helps you with a lot of self-criticism. Like on a very personal level, it helped me with deal with a lot of self-criticism. It helped me deal with a lot of self-compassion, have understanding out of who I am, who you are as a person. So basically, you try to understand, and it gives you a perspective as to how you are and who you are in its true format, right? And what all can you do, right? And sometimes when we all know that sometimes there are certain things we try 100 times and it still doesn't work out, we need to understand that when we say that there are certain things not meant to happen, it's not because of you, it's because somebody else is already there who is not wanting it to happen. Now that also has a reason to it. So I think that's a good time for us to sit back and understand that why isn't it happening? Is it a lesson for me to learn as to why isn't this happening? Why should I do something differently? Or am I not trusting the process and focusing on the output that I want this thing to be done by the end of the month by hook or by crook? Now, when you start counting your fruits, you forget the process. And when you are focusing on the output, you're not being mindful. If you're not being mindful, the major crux of spirituality is gone. So you're not being spiritual, right? So
Right.
answering in self-compassion, it gives you a lot of sense of gratitude, gives you the sense of identity, sense of being, sense of being judgmental to yourself as to with what extent you could be judgmental to yourself, and to what extent can you be judgmental and also come back and rectify that in you. Because I always say this as a mental health therapist, that the more you learn, the better you are as a human being. The day you stop learning is the day you stop growing as a person, right? So I think that's
Correct.
very important, and spirituality teaches you that.
Yes, yes, so true. I completely agree to what you said. Also, moving ahead, how can one practice spirituality in their daily lives?
Oh, that's very simple. You could, apart from the normal, regular, stereotypical way of spirituality, meditation, yes, that's one. Apart from that, we can do something like gratitude journal, writing 5 things, as good as 5 things you are grateful about every day. And I would recommend to try these for like 21 days, because 21 days the date for habit building, like we all know, and it has
Right.
tremendous results. Like I have personally written down thankful for the air that I breathe sometimes, because you can't repeat the same previous day's gratitude to the next day, and you just run out of things, and then you realize, oh, is it that I'm not grateful for anything today? But that's not what it is. You are grateful for the water you drink, for the air you breathe. So, acknowledging that you have so many things is itself a form of privilege that you have. And I think that's a sense of being mindful as well, because the next time, the next day you drink water, you're going to remember, hey, I could write that in my gratitude journal.
Right.
So, taking care of your body is another way of being spiritual. If you are taking care of your body in terms of nutrition, in terms of food, in terms of exercising, in terms of probably having a good ritual bath, bathing nicely, taking your food to the spa, all of that. So, because your body is your home, it's where you live, and your environment has to induce a lot on your mental health, on your physical health, and keeping your body, pampering your body as you pamper your home is essentially very, very important as practicing spiritual. So there's a practice that we do with spirituality, which I think runs across all the religions. If you cleanse the space first, decorate it, and then go forward to do any kind of offering to the divine, right? So that's
Right.
the whole concept. That's the whole concept, that you cleanse yourself, you pamper yourself, and then do offering to yourself as to however you want. Um, I have a couple of more. Being mindful is something that is the way of spirituality. I think that's the crux of spirituality. Breathing, just focusing on your breath, doing some kind of breath work. Of course, I would recommend just you learning breath work by trained professionals only, not from YouTube, and not from any amount of media networks. Because just to know, breathworks can change and hamper your physical health really greatly. And it's important to learn breathwork only from a trained professional. It regulates your blood circulation and circulation of the blood that goes to your heart and lungs. And I think let's just not play with that by just focusing on a YouTube video we got, and yeah. So just a disclaimer there. Yoga is a form of practice. It's a form of sadhana when it comes to spirituality, and personally has helped me a lot. I know a couple of people to whom it has helped as well. So yoga is one practice that will lead you, that is a part of spirituality as a whole. Showing kindness is one part. I mean, here I would like to give an example where probably we have an individual who is, say, vegan, does not intoxicate, is highly religious, but is not kind to people. And then there is this person on the other side who is doing all sorts of things, all sorts of intoxication, probably also eats all sorts of food, but all he practices is kindness. It's being kind, warm to people. It's just practicing sorry and thank you as maha mantras in your life. And if I were to judge, I would say probably the person who is practicing kindness is way more spiritual than the person who is practicing all the said rituals that was said in a book. You know, I think that's important. Lastly, this is my favorite. This is something that I do often. It's barefoot walking. So barefoot walking really helps because it leads you to connect yourself to Mother Nature, and it helps you ground. So sometimes, I mean, I understand that there's a lot of stigma around mental health as well. Of course, being one of the important stakeholders in the system, I do understand that we as practitioners also feel a lot of backlash with respect to, oh, this is whom you treat, this is whom you address to, and this is your workplace, kind of. But and with that, with understanding that there is stigma, I would also know that there is a large chunk of people, as we are going through this collective trauma of pandemic, would have a lot in their head as burden, consciously or unconsciously. So probably would recommend them to do barefoot walking for like 10-15 minutes, which will just make them be at ease, let their stress go down to the mother nature, and let them be connected to the ground. So if it's okay, even if you do not want to reach out, I mean, it's fine if you reach out in the very first place, but even if you do not want to reach out, you could probably practice barefoot walking if it really cures. Of course, the cure is at the surface level because it's, not a therapeutic help that's being offered to you, but at least would make you feel better. It has made me feel better. So these are certain practices that people could
Yeah.
follow.
Right. Yeah. So as you mentioned, right, from as simple as, showing kindness to people and going through meditation and yoga, there can be a lot of practices used in the daily life. Right.
Yeah,
Also, if someone wishes to get guidance to practice spirituality, whom can they reach out to?
that's very interesting. I'm going to answer this in different ways. Uh, just disclaimer, not going to promote any kind of probably sages or hermits. I think the best person to take guidance from spirituality is your own self. You know what is the best for you. Whom am I, or probably other sages or hermits or gurus, to tell you what's best for you? I mean, you have to be mindful. I mean, I would recommend sit down with yourself probably 10 minutes and know what is that you really want to do. Probably write down 5 things that you really, really want to do, and you then know what do you want to do, and then you could just go forward with achieving whatever your goal is, but being mindful. Journaling is one thing that really helps people find their guidance, find their calling on spirituality. um, of course, when they are moving forward in their paths, they would come across different people who are spiritual, and they would often ask for guidance. But let me also tell you, guidance comes to you and you don't go to guidance. That's how it works. So it comes to you. So I would probably choose to, like, I have myself not been, guided by one particular individual. Like I had my Reiki grandmaster is somebody else, my spiritual teacher is somebody else, my yoga teacher is somebody else, my tarot teacher is somebody else. Like they're just different people, and I think that's okay because you learn along the way. They are in their own spiritual journey, you are in your own spiritual journey, and as we are all just atoms, the atmas and the paramatma, we go along in the same direction. So I think your inner self, tuning in your inner self, is the way to be spiritual. Is the way. I know it sounds really superficial, but try it out. Try it out like 10 minutes. Sit down, understand in what ways could you be spiritual. In what ways could you want to help your own self? Because trust me, I mean, there could be millions of sages, hermits that could help you. I mean, I've seen people making an entire chakra meditation workshop with each chakra being treated differently, taught differently. And, then there are various other workshops. I mean, all that is fine. But let me also be very honest, it's also a understanding of your own self. Like you really want to be doing it, sitting down in meditation, working on one chakra is not going to help you. It's like working out for a single finger. I mean, working for the heart chakra is like working out on a single finger.
Right.
So yeah, so I mean, also having one guru is similar. Yeah, like it's just like spirituality is so vast. Can one person show you around an entire sea? No, they can't. It's, I think, you, your own self, are the best person to dive into and see what are the areas you really want to be at. That's what I think is, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's very interesting actually, and I hope our viewers find it helpful. And while coming to the end of the session, I would like to ask you that do you have any message for all our viewers?
Oh, I would let them know a couple of things as to as we all are undergoing this pandemic situation. One, to be kind to each and everybody. Yeah. To listen out to people if they are really wanting to talk things out to you. And when you're saying that you will be there to listen to them, please make sure that you do listen to them. Yeah, because sometimes all people need is an ear to listen and not a solution. Third thing which I'm going to let them know is belief. Belief does a lot of things. Hope does a lot of things. Let's just hope that we get out of this situation, difficult situation the whole world is facing very soon, right? And I think inculcating this amount of hope also with your children, with the people who have just been into this planet, is also extremely important. So that is one. Second, the fourth thing probably could be to really be kind and warm to yourself. I think we all just do a little too much to, be like, oh, I'm not doing enough, and running to end, go to the finish line and become first out of, I don't know, whatever competition we are running. And I think it's okay. Sometimes just don't have a distinction on your life degree. It's fine. You're taking care of yourself. That's way more important. In short, mental health way more important than we think it is, and treating it as exactly how we would treat it as a headache or probably a broken leg.
Yeah, I think that's very insightful, and thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you to all our viewers who have joined us today. I hope you find this session useful, and also do leave your feedbacks or any queries in the comment box below. Also, join us for our next episode, which will be on indulging in self-compassion through art therapy, which is the last episode of the Mental Hygiene Show, which is going to be on 28th of September 2020 at 6 p.m. And do come and be a part of the insightful session. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again.